Section 1. The Illusion Delusion. Whenever you set off on a new path, it's important to know where you're headed, the terrain in front of you, and the types of obstacles you might encounter along the way. The road to confidence is no different. In this section, we begin the conversation about the current social, political, and organisational landscape with a full discussion in Section 3. Explore the unique barriers to women's progression and clearly define core confidence. The landscape. When I first entered the workforce in 1991, there were just as many women as men going into entry-level jobs. I looked to the side of me and it was equal, but I looked above me and it was almost entirely men. As my career progressed, I had fewer and fewer women in every group I was part of. If you look back at the 1950s, 60s or 70s, of course we've made progress, but we've not made progress in getting a greater share of the top jobs in any industry in the past decade. Sheryl Sandberg. Let's set the scene. There is a casual assumption that the battle for women's liberation has been won, that the glass ceiling has been smashed at all seniority levels, equitable pay is mandated, and the ability to both raise a family and progress your career is institutionalised. It follows then that feminism has no place in this new world and is simply an outdated ideology pushed by angry women. The research, however, provides a stark contrast to these assumptions. So stark, in fact, we experienced a sense of unease when reading the latest reports about women's so-called liberation. The statistics for women in leadership, women's economic outcomes, pay and super, and support for working parents are shocking. Surely we couldn't still have so far to go. While most children are raised with the same rights and opportunities irrespective of gender, by the time boys and girls become men and women in the workforce, their rights, opportunities and outcomes look very different. In Australia, women represent 47% of graduates. By the time they reach senior management level, they represent 35% of senior managers, but by the time they reach executive levels, they only account for 16% of CEOs and only 5% of ASX 200 CEOs. The gender pay gap has remained relatively steady, hovering between 15% and 19% over the past 20 years. In fact, based on the 2017 Global Gender Gap Report by the World Economic Forum, it will take another 217 years to close the economic gender gap. Only 1 in 4 mothers with children under the age of 5 works full-time. Some of the most compelling data comes from the most recent Workplace Gender Equality Agency, WGEA report, representing 4 million employees, 11,000 employers, and 40% of employees in Australia, of which 50% are female. Their 2017 report shows limited progress for women in management over the last 4 years. In this landscape, women remain significantly underrepresented at the highest levels of power and decision-making across all areas of society, government and business. The barriers. We have met many women who, despite being seen by others as confident and having it all together, share within the safety of a coaching conversation or workshop their truth. Inside, I don't feel confident at all. These women have convinced themselves that they are the problem. However, we know that a multitude of factors are at play.